All right, your National Archive Record Administration Office of the Federal Register Document Drafting Handbook, October 1998. All right, Federal Register Document Drafting Handbook, October 1998 version of the Chapter 1. How to write a document for the proposed rule category? What type of documents go into the proposed rule category? What the requirement of the document proposed for the rule category? Billing code. What is the billing code and how do I get one heading for the information with sure that the headings being of the proposed rule preamble? What are the preamble? The requirement of the document proposed rule category? Agency action caption. Summary caption, date for the caption, address the caption, and further information caption, supplementary information caption, list of subject, what a list of subject, what I am required to do with, word of issuance, what of the word of issuance is, what do you include with the regulatory hearing with the table of contents, authority, citation, number of the rules, mandatory language, asterisk for the cost, reference, signature block, who signed for the document, do I need a signature, date, and the second style, format requirements, what should be proposed for the rule, the document look like, an example of the proposed rule document, checklist for the proposed rule document. All right, Chapter 1, how do I write the document with the proposed rules category? Note that in this chapter we or an OFR refer to the Office of the Federal Register National Archive of the Records for the UNU. UNU refer to the federal agency prepare the document publicly for the Federal Register. You example of the chapter is module for the style of the known, not content, although many of the issue with a single space the issue will impact with the must be double space for the product of your document. What type of documents go into the proposed rule category? Category contain the document proposed change of the agency regulation for the code federal regulations, record for the public comment, with the proposed change for the review of the document with the proposed regulatory text for the describe the subject for the issues involved with the OFR Office of the Federal Register, with the publish for the proposed rules and any of the document with the serve of the first public notice rulemaking procedure for the invite with the public input of the tape. Typical documents in categories of anything notice, the proposed rulemaking notice, inquiry notice of intent, proposed rule of the petition, rulemaking, unified agenda of the federal regulatory, deregulatory actions, document for the effect, the other documents previously published in the proposed rule for the category. These documents extend with the comment deadline with the announcement of the meeting of the hearing of the public, announcing of the availability of the supplemental information withdrawal, and the terminate proposed rule, correct, prepare, fully and published rules, negotiated rulemaking documents. These documents established for the committees, announcing of the committee meetings. 1, 2. What are the requirements of the document proposed category? The document published and proposed rules category should include the following items: billing headings, the heading, bill coding of the headings of the preamble, the list of subject of the word, issue with the regulatory text and signature block. Remember, the document may propose with the regulatory text with the describe the subject and issues involved. 1.3 billing code, and then how do I get one? The government printing office signed with each of the agencies public of the federal and register with the billing code. But the GP and government printing office will be insured with the list. Bill your agency for the printing code of your agency must identify the individual printing office liaison between your agency, GPO, for all of the billing matters. GPO will give you your printing officer with the billing code of your agency. Your billing code must appear with each of the documents submitted with the publication of the Federal Register. But obtain your billing code with the agency printer off the type of the billing code at the top of the first page with the original certified copy of each of the document. Type P for word perfect, F for coded, and U for uncoded. ASC 2 after the billing code with the submitted with the desk with the document. See Chapter 5. Remember, the billing code may change each year. Headings 1.4. What information goes within the heading section being over the proposed rule, being each of the rule document with a heading that identified with your agency, show with the manager for the document, the heading proposed with the document, identified in Tfr title part of the document, proposed demand with the president of the heading with the proposed rule document in this format. Department name, subject agency name, CFR citation agency with the document number, optional regulation, identifier number, the subject heading agency doc name, CFR citation agency with the documentation number, optional regulation, identifier with the RIN, subject heading of the department, sub-agency heading with the document must rectify with the department with the sub-agency shown with the CFR chapter for the document to that proposed the amended the agency with the non-cabinet level department does not use sub-agency headings. The CFR chapter is assigned with the sub-agency of the cabinet level of the department name must still appear with the document heading. See example 1, CFR citation held with the contained with the number of the CFR title with the number each of the part of the document proposed to amend, even if the document affects one of the part with the part of the include the part number. The agency document number head with the internal file number of the agency may assume the heading with its optional the RIN number is the assigned with the regulatory information service center that identifies each of the regulatory associated with the unified agenda federal regulatory deregulatory action subject heading brief statement that describing the document. You may also see the CFR part of the heading describing the content of the document. However, you get the specific information when the document amends several parts of the part heading is too general. Example, the heading for the proposed rule document with the cabinet level of the department account for the National Oceanic Administration 15 CFR part 2964 RIN 06418A19 AI90 coastal energy impact. That would go to department name, subject agency, CFR citation, RIN, subject heading, example 2, Federal Register name, agency name, the 12 CFR part 222, CFR citation, agency document number, optional. the RIN and subject heading. If you have issues following the document, duplicate the heading with the earlier document and have the distinguishing favor of the subject for the agency name, CFR citation agency, docking number, the RIN number, the subject heading. If it's a multiple agency, CFR sections in the heading 8.4, so you see section 8.14. Your preamble. What are the preamble requirements of the document proposed with the rules category? Each agency of the document of the proposed rules category, federal registry contained with the preamble, the file with the subject with the heading of the document, explain with the base for the purpose for the regulatory context for the contained with no regulatory text, arrange for the basic information, who, what, when, where, and why, and with the document, and read with the convenience of the preamble and captions are agency, action, summary, date, and address for the further information, contact, supplementary information. These captions must be in order shown the explanation, example of which appear with each of the caption file. Your agency caption. Agency caption states who under the document identify the agency issue for the caption usually represent the name of the agent, care of the document, heading with when the name of the sub-agent for the captain of the department of the agency together with the sub-agent for the name of the first for the department, commonly with the acronym short of the name of the organizational structure. You may choose to include with the caption name of the office in which is not listed in the document heading. You show the agency official, secretary, USDA, the National Record Administration Agency, Consumer Product Safety Administration Commission, Environmental Protection Agency, and National Park Service, the Interior Agency, Bureau, Park Department officials, service of the Treasury. Action caption. The action caption is at the top of the document that does not summarize the substance of the document. The following example of representative typical caption proposed with the rule document other than possible. Action proposed rule extension comment period proposed rule correction proposed rule notice for the hearing or meeting of the proposed rule withdrawal termination of the proposed rule making the ban with the note of the proposed rule petition rulemaking denial petition rulemaking withdrawal proposed policy statement proposed available the supplemental information. Summary caption. You, for the summary caption, you explain what, why, and the effect of the doing of the document of the summary must answer the three questions. What action may be taken, what action necessary, what is intended effect of the action. You, for the following guidelines, prepare the summary, you, for the language of the non-expert will demonstrate grab the documents and not how it affects the CFR with the refer to the acts of the Congress by popular name of the act. Do not use the legal citation. See where the document do not include the regulatory history and sense of the background, do not include the qualifications, set with the specific details, and be brief. You may not use the summary to provide the point and argument with the case, argue a case, supporting information, detail this discussion with regulatory history, precise legal citation, essential with the adequate the preamble that do not belong in the summary, extend the decision, propose the rulemaking belong with the supplementary information section. Alright, and then it shows an example of summary. Dates and captions present with the winner with the document, with include with the date and essential for the document. Include with the following dates and probe with the comment down with the extension for the comment and with the comment down deadline with the request of the hearing deadline with the public hearing meeting of the dates. Other dates of the public need to know of the official office of the Federal Registry, compute with the insert with the entitled with the Federal Registry, publication of the Office of Federal Registry, you with the table of effect of the dates from the time of the period, the table of the period, the reader aids and sections of the Federal Registry, each for the month of the computing of the date with which count with the publication first day with the weight of the day falls on the federal holiday with the next head on federal business display. Compute the insert the day of the present day is example 7, and we compute the date based on the only official Office of Federal Register filing publication Federal Register. Example, dates submit with the comments on and before, insert the day 60 days after and with the publication of the Federal Register. Dates and the agency must receive the comments before October 20th the public hearing at 9 a.m. The supplement request oral testimony before October 10th. Place no more than 4 dates under the caption dates. Example, format and proposed for the dates. Show the dates for the hearing dates as in Philly, Chicago, Denver, their hours and their date. If you have more than 4 days placed in the supplementary information section of the preamble under the heading with the public participation or hearing, this requirement generally does not apply for the committee comment deadlines. Do not include information other than dates and caption. Place any discussion, meeting agenda with the content material available. The inspection act, etc. The supplementary information section. Remember the date and address. Separate action. Data information appear with the date's caption. Addressee caption. The addressee caption contains wherever the document include any address the public needs to know, but they may include the addresses for mailing public comments, handling, delivering public comments, attending public hearing, meeting, or examining material available to public inspection. Do not include the information addressed for the addressee caption. Place any discussion on how to place any discussion on how to submit comments, how to register the meeting, and any content of the material available to inspection, etc. Supplemental information section. Everything except for the electrical comments. Place the electrical draft for the addressing section with the detailed requirement supplemental information section. See example 15. Place no more than 4 address for the under the caption addressees. I'm sure the addressee here and location, the name of the location, if more than 4 address the place for them in supplementary information section of the preamble under these heading of the public participation in hearings. Remember the addresses and dates are separately captions. All addressing information examples. All addressing must address the addressee captions. Please date the information electronic access the supplementary information section of the preamble under the heading of electronic access filing addresses. And then it shows examples. This says asterisks indicate the text not reprinted. Further information caption. The further information caption you must include the name of the telephone number of the person, your agency, for the year, answer for the question of the document. They may list two or more person contact concerning the different aspect of the document. Further contact information. You can list up to two or more persons. Supplementary action information caption. In this section includes the regulatory history of the rulemaking, the proceed with the president with the background information detail necessary to give the adequate notice of the issue with the command with required with the Administrative Procedure Act. For example, the information linked with the reader they can easily read, understand the descriptive evidence highlight organ at the top of the reference to Federal Register Code Federal Regulation necessary to view the format shown in 66 and 77. 67, even the supplementary information section provided additional information required with the law of the agency, policy, the executive order. Answer some of the questions may help with the draft of the supplementary information. What law of the directive or authorities rulemaking with existing regulations address the problem? What problem does the rulemaking address? What issue with the concern with the problem? What facts and surveys studies to identify and define the problem? How does the rulemaking attempt to solve the problem? What are the other solutions? Consider what is the solution. Show what is the solution. Cause effect of how will the solution affect the regulated parties? Does the rulemaking penalties are non-compliant with our penalty provision? Essential can they requirement of the monitored can penalty provisions be enforced? Have you interference identified with the document rulemaking, including with the Federal Register citation? Did you publicly advance notice of the proposed rulemaking? Have you announced the meetings or hearings? Have you discussed all necessary regulatory analysis of review of the requirements while the statutes apply with the rulemaking? How do public participation be handled with our special and strictly mailing public comments with our formal informal hearings? Are the procedure of requesting the public hearing? Are there instructions to file comments making the oral presentation mail with the transcript of the hearing made available to have you, particularly heading with the break of the lengthy supplementary information section, for instance, the background statutory authority, request for the comments, related documents, topical headings, drafting information, public participation, list of subjects. What are the list of subjects? What I am required to do? Each of the proposed rule document must contain the list of the index term with the list of subjects, each for the CFR part number, the inside of the document head with the terms contained in the Federal Register, the year for the index term with available to NAR.gov Federal Register / under the document drafting reference to the term the proposed. Provide a common vocabulary index rulemaking with the documents all agencies are based on the CFR index of the Office of the Federal Register will provide the list of appropriate term with existing CFR parts, and the new CFR parts you should select the appropriate term of the thesaurus may include the additional term contained with the thesaurus for existing with the new CFR parts. As long as you include the appropriate thesaurus term that you will select with the term that is not in thesaurus, ask yourself, what should I search for the subject matter being used the term? List of the subject to the list of the to item of the supplementary information section preamble part of the list and subject with the alphabetical order, separate them with commas that commonly capitalize only in the first word with each of the term and the terms with a period. See example 18. You do not need to list the subject of for a document that has no regulatory context, no regulatory text only present, no quotation change the correct provision documents. We must include the established the thesaurus term for all the part of the removing from the CFR. A list to start with the separately with each of the CFR part effect with the example 19. However, if the terms are identical, several of the CFRs you may consolidate. See example 19. List of start with the document citing single CFR part. List of subjects in style 49 CFR part 262 has a weight and payable imports labeling packaging containers reporting record keeping. Example of 19. List of start with the documenting two or more CFR parts. List of the subject 15 CFR part 370 administrative personal actions personal exports 15 CFR 372 386 export reporting record keeping requirements. Word of issuances. What are words of issuance? Word of issuance provided with the tie between the proposed rule with the CFR unit that can be effective with the bridge between the preamble, the document, regulatory chain with the proposed word issuance all the way to the present tense. Example for the reason for the state with the preamble, the federal agency with the regulatory commission proposed the amendment title 18 CFR chapter 1 set forth and below the reason to discover the preamble, the new regulatory proposed the amendment the title 10 CFR 430 as required. Regulatory text. What do I include the regulatory text? Regulatory text section from the document that said with the original agency, the proposed change with the CFR to include the heading, table, the contents, authority, citation number of the rules, mandatory language, asterisks, and cross references. Headings. Providing the heading of each of the subpart section of the appendix of the proposed amendment that you may use the heading with the paragraph, the heading with a brief statement that accurately describe the comment and content with the CFR, you with the chain with the heading with the required with the amendment with the CFR. Alright, show the part, the subpart heading optional section part. Each of the part headings should contain with the subject of the term, but they identify with the agency rule man, but consistent with the term of the other agency identified similar Material Office of Official Federal Register have developed the theosaurus subject term within the CFR related to publication. Theosaurus the objective obtained with the subject term with the identify the content with the proposed rule document appropriate to the subject term of the part heading. Subpart. You may use the subpart heading separate idea of the subpart with the subpart not required undesignated center heading the use of undesignated center heading to break up the larger than subpart with groups together. The section containing with a particular subject with undesignated center heading not required. An appendix of it may appear with the section and subpart level, but these designate each appendix capital letter that identify the beginning of the section, subpart, and the part, and give it with a descriptive head that do not carry the heading of the appendix section, the table of the contents if the agency established uniform designation system for appendix and file with the established system. And see Chapter 7. Appendix headings, Appendix B, Appendix A, Appendix descriptive section with the heading of the signal signpost with the reader, the helper rated them for the particular regulatory help apply with to them each for the section heading with a period of question marking. Paragraph. You may use the heading of the paragraph level to begin consider the heading with the one paragraph to be sure the heading with all the paragraph at level the paragraph headings within a period with a period underlined with a document with the Federal Register underlined headings are printed in italics. All right, table 110. 110 table of contents. You need a table. You need a table of contents for the document that adding a new part and sub the part revive the existing parts of part or subpart, including the following table of contents: section heading, subpart heading, the designated center headings, appendix headings of the parts and subpart of the table of content entirely identical with the section heading of the subpart heading, designated center heading of the appendix heading with the regulatory text. Do not list paragraph headings of the appendix. The sections heading with the table of contents. Do not provide the table of contents with the document of the amendment with a single section and the miscellaneous section chain with the table of contents of the amendments include with the CFR. 111, Authority Act, citation. You must cite with the authority to authorize the agency chain with the CFR, give the authority with the citation short form. The place for the authority citation depends upon what unit the CFR for you are amending. There are two types of authority: statutory public law, United States Codes, non-statutory president, executive order, president, administrative order, president, memorandum, agency delegation, policy, directive, office of management, circular, CFR regulation. Your agency responsible for the maintaining accurate current authority citation, president of authority citation 1 2 central places, part level subpart. The may give the citation authority particular subpart section with the general authority and citation. See example 23 and 24. Our statutory, each of the citation authority with the must use the United States citation with a one exhibit to determine the United States Code citation, usually on the following: the current edition of the United States Code supplement with a slip law with the recently signed public laws. We recommend generally give the United States Code citation. See example 29. United States Code citation does not exist. For example, the appropriation law you might cite with the section public law, and if appropriate with the public law, the USA statute, the larger the United States popular name of the public law. See example 26. Authority section 806 of the public law 198.473 98 7 1937. If you choose the public cite public law, U.S. statutory enlarge additional United States Code present in the order shown in channel 27. Authority section 8 public law 98 23 28 82 statute 470 Title 32 40 U.S. Standard Code 21. And the two different cite with the differential United States Code, but the other does not play with the United States Code citation. See example 28. Authority Title 42 U.S. Standard Code 296996 public law 104 110 statute 1308 public law 104 with 131 110 statute 13221 1321. Non-statutory authority. Cite non-statutory authority document designation Federal Register citation CFR citations example 29. Authority except orders 12731 with the Title 5 55 the FRA 4 Federal Register 42547 the CFR 1990 com page 306 Title 5263. If any other include both statutory and non-statutory, such as the name authority of the citation play with the statutory citations for example 30. If you need to deviate with the chain of authority, citation format, submit the letter, request for deviation, and explain what the need with the director of the Federal Register. Placement of the authority citation, a whole CFR part in the document of the adds of rights of the entire CFR part of the authority citation directly under the table of contents before the regulatory text. See example 31. CFR section. If the document amends only the certain section for the CFR part, see the authority citations with the first numbered item of the list of amendments for this part. See the example 32 and 34. Part 4 serve the public law with the authority citation for the part revived with the file with the authority title 44 U.S. Code 1508. Example 4 serve the public authority citation with the continuity of the read is filed with the authority title 44 U.S. Code 1502. Alright, subparts. If the document is divided with either entire subpart with the same authority citation of the CFR with the authority citation of the part with the first number of the item and list of the minutes for that part. So if example 23 and 24, the document is divided with the entire with the subpart with a different authority citation set of the authority citation subpart directly after the heading of the subpart before the regulatory text, see example 34. So the subpart supportive serve the minority disadvantage of it, and in the section purpose definition policies of the supportive subpart and authority and purpose. Or as in table of contents subpart heading subpart B authority citation text section. Parts removed. If you propose to remove the part with the must give the authority, agency authority with the action play for the authority and word issuances, see example 35. According to the under the titles in U.S. Code 80313, the XX agency proposed the XX CFR Chapter 7, moving part 837, an example under 40, 2 U.S. Code 51 is discussed with the preamble. The Department of the XX proposed the amendment to XX CFR Chapter 2 for the file. 112, numbering rule. The regulatory text of the document must conform with the structure of the CFR of the Code Federal Regulation structure for the basic structure of the CFR, consist of the hierarchy, designated CFR units of the CFR numbering system based on decimal number system. The following table to illustrate the CFR structure. CFR unit, title, chapter, part, and section, and then each section numbered include the number of the parts filed with the period and subsequential. So if you're a section number, example 37, and the hypothenated numbers with or numbers of alpha characters with are not permitted with the designation unit within CFR systems. Directed with the Alpha, the Federal Register must approve of the deviation from the standard CFR structure, submit with the request approval of the writing before, again, you begin the drafting. Paragraph structure and section. If you have more than one paragraph that designate each one with the shown with the example 38, then even the designated the paragraph and section, the paragraph structure for the section allow for the 6th level of the designation shown the recommended unit even more than 3 paragraph level to more than 3 paragraph level the rule. Your rule hard to read even more section with the draft technique, you avoid even the except paragraph, you the paragraph structure of the charter of the 38. Section consisting of a single paragraph. The introduction and test of the section do not require designation, however, they are no longer permitted under designated conduct, including paragraph. Include in italics, underline type, typical documentation. Definition for the discussion definitions, see section 815. Label the note CFR text shown whether they apply to the whole section or the preceding paragraph, see example 39. 113. A mandatory language. As proposed with the document, usually proposed with the make of the change of addition with the CFR. The regulatory document it must fill with the current text with the CFR. You must precisely identify with the describe the change with the CFR. The words issued with the describe the general effect with the document. And mandatory language. You with the same term. Give the specific information how to change with the CFR. Do not include the mandatory language with the discussion or why the changes are made belong with the supplementary information section. Your agency current CFR text is not necessary with appear with the last edition of CFR synced with the agency published for the CFR Daily Federal Register. Live with the CFR section effective with the cumulative with the monthly numeral index with the rule of the rules. Terminate any of the changes that have been with the revision date with the CFR part effective with the cumulative with the date and numeral index the rule for the proposed change with the published from the readers. A with the of the section Federal Register. Review the check with the change with any monthly covered in the LSA. Or the list of CFR select sections effective. Before you begin with the drafting a mandatory language, show the last version of CFR, the LSA, the last Federal Register of the name of the month not covered in the list of CFR sections effective. This gives you the current and official version of the CFR regulations that you are changing. Based on mandatory language with the current text of the rules, you must identify the specific CFR unit being changed with the place of the amendment. The CFR numbering order use only the standard item that describe the change with the draft of the L regulatory text and some of the set in your document. For extensive change with the reside of the text and full rather than preparatory fragment and amendment, the reader will have the complete text amendment. Even if they do not use the word proposed in each mandatory instruction, only propose the word issuance in the word issuance, see section 17. Using an amendment for the existing CFR unit, there is a chain with the people. We cover the introduction of the term that cannot be standalone. One, use the only specific mandatory term previously discussed in the chain with the CFR unit. Or a specific mandatory term, the use of the following term of the mandatory language, the use of the term of the precise instruction chain with the CFR, add, read, designate, remove, republish, reserve, revise, and withdraw. Add means that this new CFR is inserted into the CFR. Redesignate the train for the CFR unit with the vacation position, egg sign with the new designation, redesignation table may be used. Remove that the CFR unit has been taken out of the CFR. Republish means that the unchained with the CFR has set without the convenience of the reader without often to provide with the content of the amendment. Therefore, you must present with the republished track accurately. Reserve. It is determined that fill the gap the CFR number to remove the subpart and paragraph may leave the gap which can confuse the reader. To avoid confusion in your mandatory language, you should remove the reserve subpart in paragraph C, example 45. Alright, C 45 of the reserve when removed with the CFR amendment sub Q is remove with the reserve, remove with the reserve subpart with the statute 107, 103.10 through 103.25. You may also reserve that when adding the revising CFR will until the indicated future text will be added. Revised remains with the existing CFR unit is replaced entirely with important with the specifically identified CFR being revised. Withdrawal indicate that the previously published proposed rule will not be issued as a final rule, will not become effective or enforceable. Addition revision with the part and subpart with the parts are added and the revised part with the use of the elements in order and shown with the example of 49 and mandatory language part heading the table of contents authority citation regulatory text. Subpart, if the part signal authority citation and with the table of contents you want to add or revive the subpart in this part with the use the elements in order, part heading and authority citation for the part, mandatory language subpart heading table of contents regulatory text, if each of the part with its own authority citation you want to add or revive the subpart within this of the elements in order shown in the part heading and mandatory language subpart heading the table of contents subpart heading and authority citation with the subpart regulatory text, and then show the mandatory language part heading the table of contents authority citation regulatory text example. Amendments to the section. If you amend the section of the elements in order to show the part heading of authority citation mandatory language section heading regulatory text. If you divide the revised section, you the format section shown 49. If you add a section which contains the subpart with the undesignated center heading of the identify the subpart the undesignated heading of which will contain the new section. Part heading authority citation and mandatory language section heading regulatory text. Multiple amendments do not describe all the change within one section single instruction display with the change text section immediately following the instruction. See the instruction 2 in the example of 51. If you may change in one section listed the format 50. Where there are changes in several sections separated number of the instruction for each of the sections display the chain with each of the section instruction C instructions 2 through 4 with example 51 parts 1 2 5 8 feet with authority citation with 129 amended applicability and then exclusions. Mail orders. Group all the amendments to the CFR until together in one instruction. The example 52 and 53. Revised part A, D, E, and N. 150, 105 to read as follows. With the example of 53, move with the reserve 33.1, 33.5, and 33.10. Alright, your introductory test. If you revive the introductory test section with the paragraph, not in the whole section, paragraph specify the introductory test. The example 54. Alright, 114 asterisk. If you add and revise only a certain unit of the section of the mandatory language must say exactly which of the U that added or revised only with those unit with the print with the asterisk reference text. You did not change with the U the 5 asterisk. U with the 5 action show with the whole paragraph that included the subordinate paragraphs is unchanged. Example 55 5 asterisks before revive with the paragraph D with the show with the paragraph A, B, and C remain unchanged with the 5 asterisks that follow with the revive with the D with the show with the remaining with the text in the section is also unchanged. Using 3 asterisks, you chain with the chain with the subordinate level to show with the higher level of the paragraph remains done. Chain with the figure 56 with the 5 asterisks before the D with the show with the paragraph remains 3 unchained with the 3 asterisks 3 show with the B1 through B4 remain unchained with the N 3 asterisks follow with the 5 with the show with the introductory test of the B5 is unchained. The 5 asterisks follow with the revised B5 1 show with the remaining text of the section is unchanged. We strongly recommend that you use no more than 3 paragraphs level to be more than 3 paragraph levels make your rule hard to read and you the 3 paragraph structure chart in example 38. The smallest unit that you may revise in sentence you revise with only a sentence of the paragraph 3 asterisks to show with the remaining sentence of the paragraph unchanged. For example 57. 58 show the both 5, 3, and 5 actions, same action, parting heading, authority, citation, mandatory language section, heading, identify, indication, paragraph unchanged, indicator paragraph, introduction change, indicator paragraph B1 through introduction text, and B11 through B4 unchanged, revising paragraphs B15, adding paragraphs B16, indicating paragraphs B2 unchanged, and revised first sentence paragraph B3 indicating remainder B3 change, and indicate paragraph B3 for 4 unchanged, indicates paragraph C, the introduction change, B1 unchanged, revised paragraph indicates paragraph unchanged, indicates paragraph introductory section change, revised paragraph C4 through 1 introductory change, indicated remaining section unchanged. 115 cross-references. You may permit the cross-reference your own another agency's rule with a limited citation with applying with the reference rule with a create with a future citation the only reference rule with the currently in effect. You must modify the reference rule with the reference rule that you cannot use the cross-reference and public to modify the rule with in full. You may cross-reference the rule with another agency only with the reference meet with any of the following conditions specified in Title 1 CFR 2121. The reference of the required with the court or the statute with the executive or organization plan with the reference of the rule with the propagated with the agency with the exclusive legal authority regulated with the subject matter area, but reference for the agency need to apply with the rule within their own program with the reference in informal to improve with the clarify with the begin with the regulatory the referee and so for the test map with the consent of the standard with the provide with the federal agency they have with the play with the preemptive with the provide with the voluntary test map with the consent of the standard with the subject matter area the reference of the department level the sub agency for the cross level must invite the CFR unit being cited by a proper CFR unit with the designation each of the references not even non-specific reference such as here and above and below with example the 59 illustrated with the proper style with the common type of cross reference. Note that the purpose of the example will display with the citation bolded in your document, and then it shows more document. Alright, your signature block. 116. Well, who can sign a document? Your agency determines who may sign the document submitted to the publication. Federal Register sign must be in ink of the section 8.5 of the recommended signature of the issue. The blue ink signature in black ink is often difficult to distinguish with the copy type of the name and title of the person signing with the document directly beneath the handwritten signature. See example of 61. When a person signs with the document, another person type of the name of the title of the person who actually signs the document beneath the signature. 62. When reject the document signed with the one person with the other will not accept the document with the sign with one else with the we will play with the initials and signature. Do not place the signature block plate on page of the itself. Placing the text on the signature page helps to ensure the integrity of the document. Must ensure the signal block either end of the document. See example 63 between the preamble the rest of the document. 64. 178. 117. Do I need a signature date? Recommended do not require. We recommend do not require a signature date. We furnish one with a date with the actual signature. Do not accept with a posted signature. Change the signature or change the signature. If there is a problem with the signature date, you will return your document to your liaison officer. All right, 118. What should the proposed rule document look like? And it shows it's 11 by 1 inch margins, 11 by 8.5. Capitals. Type in all capitals the name of the agency, cabinet level of the department, but not the name of the sub-agency with the heading with the document, Federal Register, and then parenthetical with the date with which you compute the preamble captions. Copies provide legal copy of the correction and A to E for the tape. Do not use the correction for the use of tape with double space and the text of your document double space. The heading with the type of the document heading with the concern with the flushing of the left margin with the type of the section heading with the flush with the left margin underline with the online separately with the text section. Use the SS symbol margin on each of the top of the bottom and right side with on 1/2 of the inch of the left side. Page number the number of the page consecutively with one of the following pages. Place the center top bottom of the upper right hand corner. Paper you must prepare with the document 8.5 and 11 inch wide. White paper, caution, quotation marks for names of books, journals, articles, general items, quoted material, the type of the quoted, single space centered block system without quotation marks, single sided copy, the type of the document on one side copy, with single space and the type of the following single space quoted material, the vote, note, the table of contents, example, the table, note, the table, the authority, citation, notes, the formulas, underlining instruction, the printer with the printer present with the material, italics, underlining for definitions, underlining with only the terms, the paragraph headings, scientific terms, the ordering statement, the cases, the section, heading the text rules, heading will appear with the bold type of the Federal Register, referring with the name of the title of publication, except for the title with all capital letter, the parenthetical date of where we are to compute, not you with the underlining, the emphasis of the name of the book and form phrase, abbreviation. Use the following abbreviations in Federal Register. FR for the Federal Register. Use the FR or fed.regs or F.R. See example 66. CFR for the Code Federal Regulation. CF.F.R. for example 67. USC for the is United States Code. PWL PUB.L. is public law. Do not use P.L. statute. SCAT is U.S. statute for the larger AM A.M. and PM. Designated time designated D.O. executive order PRO proclamation. SEC section of the public law of the United States Code. Use the abbreviation pub L or E.O. D.O. or proc. Only with the authority citation. All other times we must spell within the example 28 and 29. All right, the SS symbol is only with the CFR section symbol is only multiple section. However, to do with the not even the symbol to begin with the sentence of the instead of the spelling of the word. Not with the symbol SS symbol or the word section. The reference of the file with the title number. The CFR title 36. CFR 1201 style. Using the government printing off the office style name with the guide with the punctuation, capitalization, spelling, compound with the other styles. The material may obtain with the GPO style with the manual with the superintendent of the document, the government printing off. There's a reference to the document related with the purpose of the public federal relation document. You must cite the earlier document reference the preamble. The public federal relation document must be identified for the volume number, page number, the date issue with which the document appear with the reference to the preamble. The material contained with the CFR should identify the CFR title part with the section number. Alright, 119, example of the proposed rule document. Show the National Archive read the title, RIN, Youth of the National and our Agency Action Summary, dates, address, date of publication, and addresses. Further information, contact, supplementary information, list of subject, archive records, from the authority, written down, date and signature page. Alright, 120. Check a list of the proposed rule document. The following checklist is a review of the proposed rule document before submitting it to the billing code. The billing code at the top of the first page with the right hand corner. See sections 13, 118, and 119. Heading the correct heading of the U of the section 14. Preamble, all the required element for the preamble. Include with the for the summary answer all of the three quotations. See section 15. Subject for the all subject matter lifted in CFR part effective the play for the end of the preamble. Section 16. Word of the insurance have to provide the link with the preamble. The proper with the regulatory text. See section 17. The authority citation. The authority citation correctly play for the document. See section 1 until 11. Implementatory language. See section 113. This is specified with the exact CFR unit being changed. Does it with the correct term of the table of the contents over the include with each of the subpart with the part being used in set of full and does it entirely agree with the regulatory context. Paragraph all paragraphs regulatory text intended in the letter to number correctly. To asterisk have used section heading of the asterisk parsley section amendment. See section 114. Cross references if the correct style you with the reference mean without criteria. Tables and illustrations, are they play for exactly where to be printed? Are they completely legible? Are the chart and map of the graphic quality? And the office management above the control number include with the regulatory play properly within the correct style of the section 8-9. Signature title of the original signature and the handwritten in ink, including on the document one person, then not signing the other initials. A signature. Add the signature name title type beneath it, the signature, if the signature date is given the correct quality, add the original certified legible, the document free correction, and heap the tape with the ring, and the chain with the print of the date, then initiate down 3 copy of the document, dealable space, page numbering, all the page number, the number consecutively, the matching copy of the certification original, 2 copies identical with all other pages included with a copy of the properly signed certified disc. If you have included the disc with your document, every document on the separate date with the disc is identical with the sign of the original document does include the verification certification level that starting with the file document are identical. You the document only file with this. Do you save with the file? There's the ASC2 with the Word Perfect 6.1 format. For the disk with the label identified with your agency document subject with the file name and the file format. If the disk virus free, or the file with the disk free with the protection of their security memory measures. Chapter 2, Federal Register Document Drafting Handbook. Chapter 2, How to write a document with, for the rules category.